because we've.
Welcome everybody to ESC Fan TV. It's a Sunday night, which can mean only one thing. It's your show for the week. That's right, ESC Fan TV's episode 11, people. The journey to Liverpool. I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe we have a Eurovision in the United Kingdom in my lifetime, apart from the one when I was much, much younger, which I do remember. Actually, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, you kind of got the point. I'm so delighted to be here hosting again. Yes, they've let me host another show. That's right. Elliot's off doing some dancing or doing something up north. Probably not dancing. He's probably doing something else up north. But anyway, that's for another show. And I'm here with the mic, hosting you a live show on a Sunday night. Should we get on with it? Let's say hello to my panel. First off, my brother from another mother. It's Tom. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Stu. Yes, I'm good. I'm pleased you're hosting. I've had tonsillitis this week. Didn't really fancy the idea of hosting. Do you know what? Whilst Elliot's away, the mice will play. Let's have some fun this evening. There's some great songs to look at.
There really is. Anyway, so Tom's going to be in the chat room. Make sure you chat to Tom. He needs chatters in the chat room, chatting away to him whilst he's chatting online, live, for your viewing pleasure. But enough of that. Let's move on to our next panellist of the evening, all the way from Stockholm, which is ironic, really, because we kind of need a Swede here to talk about Sweden, because that's coming up later. It's the wonderful, the one and only, it's Gustav, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. And let's be honest, I'm only here because Elliot is not here.
Well, that's true. That's true. We gave him a pass so you could come on. Good to have you on, Gustav. Staying in Scandinavia, the other one and only, it's our very good friend Nicholas is on the show tonight.
Hello. Yeah, I somehow managed to sneak back in and be part of it again this week.
You did, and we love having you here, Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. I'm also talking about Denmark. You see the link here, people? Yes, you do. Also joining us tonight, it's the king and queen of ESC Fan TV. That's right, it's myself and Sean. Sean, how you doing, my friend? Oh, only joking. Of course, I'm talking about Phil and Michelle.
Hello, it's Elliot. Hello, who the hell is Elliot? Yeah, we're in our gardening gear because we've been gardening.
No, we've been knocking a wall down. Yeah. That's not gardening.
Yeah, we've been knocking a wall down. So Michelle's got a gardening tiara on.
Lovely. Is that where you kind of dig the mud out with? Anyway, that's for another show as well. And finally, joining us also from the north of England, it's the wonderful Sean.
No, of course, I'm originally from Armenia, which is why I'm here.
Well, that's true.
Happy to be here. Should be fun.
It's going to be amazing. People, we got 6 weeks till Eurovision. Just 6 weeks till the Eurovision Song Contest week. That's right. In fact, in 6 weeks, it's done. It's finished. It's gone. It's up there for another year. But you're here tonight to hear our takes on 6 of the best. That's right. Tonight, we are going to give you our thoughts on Loreen, Sweden. We're going to talk about the Netherlands. We're going to talk about Denmark, Armenia, Switzerland, and Romania. Are we going to have any winners from this bunch of 6 legendary Eurovision entries from the 2023 year? Let's kick off the show. And yeah, we've got this wonderful little thing going on here that Elliot has asked us to continue with. So we said we would do it. So, this is, if it doesn't work, it's on Elliot. So Tom, I've got to spin it, haven't I? There we go. Are you ready, Tom?
Always.
Let's do it. So who are we going to land on first? We're going to land on Sweden. There we go, Sweden. Let's take that off the screen. Sweden is represented by the iconic Loreen. With the song Tattoo, which is, let's face it, it's written by every single songwriter in the whole world. That's true, that is, by the way. Starts 11th in semi-final one. You will all remember Loreen. Everyone knows Loreen. Won Eurovision in 2012, has been in Melody Festival a number of times. I mean, she really is iconic at this point. She won Melody Festival really, really comfortably. She's a born performer. Eurovision World has her at 39% to win Eurovision this time around. I don't know. I kind of wonder whether that might be a bit on the low side. We're going to find out what my panel have to say in a little minute. Gustav, let's come to you first. Look, this is the outstanding favourite. At this moment in time, a bit like last year, you know, when the odds heavily favoured Ukraine winning, that's exactly what happened. The odds heavily favour Loreen winning. Again, for Sweden, it takes you to 6 wins in total. You're neck and neck with Ireland. Is there a chance here, and I'm going to put you on the spot with this, that Sweden are not going to win Eurovision? Tell me why this song deserves to be top 3 in Liverpool.
I mean, there's always a chance that we won't win, but this song is just perfection to me. And I'm going to be real honest, the first time I saw this being performed, all of my Loreen fanboy from 2012 came right back, and I haven't been able to stop since that day in February. I think there's just something so comfortable with her. She is, yes, as you said, she's a born performer, and I just think that whatever she touches turns out to be really, really great if you let her be herself. We're not talking about statements on this channel anymore. So, yeah, I think it's, for me, as a Swede, I am very comfortable with sending her. And even if she doesn't win, I am very comfortable that we are going to be in top 3.
Thank you, Gustav. I mean, I think it's a really great entry. I really do. And there's a lot of people out there that are being quite critical of it, and I think a bit unfairly, because of the way it's staged and the fact it's Loreen, former winner, coming back to Eurovision. Nicholas, there's been a lot of criticism about the staging. There's been some thoughts around how they're going to take that staging to Melody Festival. And we saw last year with Cornelia, the staging was adjusted ever so slightly on stage in Turin, and it didn't work quite as well. What are you expecting on stage with Sweden in Liverpool in a few weeks' time?
This is going to be very interesting because I've already heard talks that they aren't going to be able to do the exact same staging, which I think a lot of people are worried, because then they go, oh, well, it's the staging that sells it. And while I do agree that I think the song is being very much elevated by the staging, I think they can easily come up with something different, do this in a different way. Right now, the big focus is that, oh, they won't be able to hang that LED from the ceiling because they won't be able to do that in the arena. I'm sure there are other ways to do this, like either with like a different system or with projections or whatever. They're going to find a way. It's SVT. They want to win. They're going to find a way. And I think the only reason why they haven't said what they're going to do is because it builds attention. It gets people talking, and it's worked. People have been talking about it. It's a bit of a funny one to talk about for me, this one, because it feels like with Tattoo, everyone seems to be divided into 2 groups. They're either the people who say, this is art, this is perfection, it's going to win 100%. And then there are the people who picks apart every little detail of it and thinks this is the worst song in existence. Why is this being overhyped? And I find myself in a little bit of a funny situation, because I'm kind of one of the few people in the middle of this. Do I think it's amazing? Do I love it? Not necessarily, but I don't hate it either. And I don't see a reason for hating it, because I think it's a perfectly fine pop song. It works well for the radio, and it has the same kind of qualities that Euphoria had, with a performer who absolutely knows how to perform. Is gonna do amazing. She's gonna do well. Her performance is gonna be great in Liverpool, no matter what. But it's not among my favorites. That doesn't mean that I would hate to see it win. In fact, it probably has a good chance of winning. But I just think it's funny sometimes that these songs come up and people have such strong emotions about it, because it's like, you know, you want to root for your favorites, and then people come out and say Loreen's a sure winner. And some people just kind of get annoyed at that, and they want to pick apart the song. We don't know if it's going to win. Maybe it'll win, maybe it won't. But I think all the hate that comes towards it picking every little detail out of it and calling her out because of that. I really don't think that's necessary at all.
Thank you, Nicholas. And I 100% agree. Whether you love or hate the song, I think you can appreciate the art that is Loreen and the staging and what she's trying to deliver. The one thing I would say about Loreen is that when she steps on a stage, I can't, whether I like the song or not, I can't help but feel something. She definitely draws the emotion out. And I think that's, just that calls out her ability as a performer. Phil and Michelle, this is, in my opinion, when it was first released as part of the Melodifestivalen cast of 2023, the clear outstanding favourite. It won at a canter in Sweden. It really did. Despite there being other songs there which I would have felt could have done just as, maybe not just as well, but would have done well at Eurovision. What is your view on this particular song? It does feel like there are some members of the Eurovision fan world that are being a little bit overly critical.
Yeah, well, everyone's mental, aren't they? It's like, you must like this, or I don't like this, and it's just like, chillax. It's a song contest.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's all right. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It's just, she doesn't, I can't tell what she's saying. And why is she in beige? I want sequins. I don't want bloody beige and all that and everything. I want to see people in sequins and a bit more flamboyancy. And everyone knows that bloody toaster can be done with balsa wood and some torches. It's not rocket science, and it won't weigh a ton. I've been through this before. But it's just, it's just a bit, I can sort of take it or leave it. I haven't picked it to bits because I haven't really, I've listened to it a lot, but not as fanatically as everybody else. But it's just a bit dull for me. It's just brown and beige and dark and gloomy, and get a bloody sequin on her.
Oh, I don't think it's a sequin sort of song, to be fair.
Every song's a sequin song.
You've got to say it's a solid performance. It's a good song.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
I think a lot of the hate directed against it isn't really driven by the song itself. It's driven by the overreaction of some fans who are saying that it's guaranteed to win and everyone else might as well not bother.
Yeah, and then everyone else going, it's not, it's going to come, it's 37th on my list. And it's like, take a breath.
It's going to come top 5. It'll probably come top 3. It may well win, but it's not guaranteed.
I don't think anything's guaranteed now.
No,
it's like,
no.
Do you remember who was that mad woman the other year who looked like a raving mad Tess Daly? In that big, was it a big green dress? And she it was a few years ago, and she won the televote or something, and then she won the.
You're thinking of Tamara, aren't you, for North Macedonia?
Is it the one that she won the jury? She won the jury or something, and then the televote she got like 2.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what the juries think. It's all right, you can sail through the semis, but if the juries don't like it, you're sort of stuffed. And I don't know if the juries are going to be a bit snobby towards it, like, well, it's Loreen, and it's written by every person in the world. And I think that might go against her with the juries. But I think she'll probably win the fan vote. She'll come first or second in the fan vote. But I think the juries might do her over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if she comes first or second with the televote and gets a top 5 with the juries, I think it's almost nailed on. Should be top 3. But let's see. Sean, you were there in the in Stockholm watching the Melodifestivalen.
I think most
final,
of us.
Along with Gustav. Yeah. What was the buzz? How was the buzz around Loreen in the arena?
It was incredible. I mean, I was lucky enough to see it in the heats as well, and it's just such a powerful song, and it's dramatic, and she's got such an emotional connection with the song. You believe what she's singing, and the roar of applause and cheers when Loreen's name was announced right at the beginning of the show, when they announced all the acts, it took the roof off. It was incredible, an incredible experience to see. Although it is better on the TV rather than being in the arena, it's quite funny trying to watch it in the arena because the big arm of the crane with the camera on gets right in there and you can't always see what's going on. But it was a stunning atmosphere. I want to pick up on something that Nicholas said a short while ago, and I kind of agree with you in a lot of ways. This staging concept of how heavy the contraption is above her, and it can't go on the ceiling because it's too heavy, 1.8 tons or whatever. Will it or won't it? It just keeps it in the public eye. It keeps it in the press. This is Senate and Flowrider all over again. Will he appear? Will he not appear? It keeps it in the public eye, and no publicity is bad publicity, and she'll benefit from this. I can't imagine this staging being any different. It will be pretty much exactly the same as we've seen it already in Melodifestivalen. I can't see it being much different. Sorry, I just did that. Jesus. Brilliant. I can't see it being much different, to be honest, because I don't think if the staging changes, I'm not sure if it's a winner. We've seen it before. I don't think Manzamlo would have won in 2015 if he didn't have the little stickman staging. I don't think there were better songs in that competition, I think. And I think the staging is a big part of this song. So, yeah, it's definitely one of the strongest songs this year. I mean, it's my second favourite overall. I still don't think it's Euphoria, and it does need that big, elaborate staging concept that we've seen, because it's just the wow factor. It's amazing.
Thank you, Sean. Tom, look, we've got over 200 people in the chat room right now, or certainly watching live. So I'd like to say a huge thank you to those watching live. Please give us a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, leave comments. Let us know what you think of tonight's show, and also your opinions on what our panel think, as well as your own. Tom, what are the chat room saying, and your final take on Sweden's Loreen?
Well, let's deal with the chat room first. Haley loves Loreen. Would be happy if she did win, but wonder if this could be the one that wins the semi then drops in the final. Vanya is all about cha-cha-cha. WIVM, all the songs are art, so nonsense. This is exactly the point. Hyped, it's not bad, it's not good, it's repetitive. She should have stayed with her 2012 win. Donna very quite rightly says nothing deserves hate, yet haters are going to hate. And Dan says Loreen is a fantastic artist, brilliant song, not as good as Euphoria. The bad thing is that the diction of the song is so poor. It will win once diction is improved. And also the comment that STV most definitely do have a budget. What do I think? Yes, I was in the arena as well for Melfest. Yes, she got a big round of applause. However, I wouldn't say in comparison to someone like Teos, it was particularly out there, to be honest. It's a good song. It's a good act. And I think the problem is, and it's the same problem with Euphoria, and to some extent, it's the same problem with the Swedish entry most years. And I think Cornelia was a victim of this last year, is that there are some people out there that think Sweden are going to win and are determined to push it down everyone's throats, to the point that if you think Sweden aren't going to win, all of a sudden you're the enemy, or you think it's going to be an open contest. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's a dangerous thing, because it's all about diversity and things like that. I hope she does well. She deserves to do well. Is she top of my pile? Probably not. At the same time, it's not going to, I'm not going to be fanatical about it, as it were, about whether she's going to win or not. Let's see what the staging is. Let's see what everything else is. Win, lose or draw, she's always going to give Sweden a good account of it. But, we need to show respect to every artist here. And I think, sometimes I think as fans, I think we focus too much on one artist. And you've always got to be aware that there are, there's 37 artists competing in Liverpool this year. She's 1 out of 37. And all of the other 36 are going to want to win the contest as well. And always be very, very, very wary of the dark horses that creep up on the sides as well.
Yeah, and we might have 1 or 2 of those tonight. So there you go. That's Sweden. Let's go back to our Wheel of Death. Should we call it Wheel of Death or Wheel of Life? Anyway, let's find out who we're going to be.
Elliot's Wheel of Fortune.
Is it? Well, I like Wheel of Death. And it looks like we're going to Switzerland. We are. Hello, Switzerland, calling Switzerland. Switzerland have gone for Remo Fora with Watergun this year. Starts 8th in the first semi-final. Fresh-faced Remo is all the way from Hamburg in Switzerland. He likes playing traditional folk music, plays the accordion and the piano. I wonder whether he might be tempted to finger a few keys in Liverpool this year. I guess we're going to find out very, very soon. Yes, finger a few keys, Sean. That's what I said. Won the Voice of Switzerland back in 2020. He's also won the Germans' version of I Can See Your Voice. I don't know whether you have that in your respective countries. We certainly have that in the UK. So that's Remo. Watergun, well, it's a far cry from Vampires Are Alive. It's a beautiful power ballad. It's all about the global crisis and war. Remo says, we must live with the consequences of our decisions we didn't make. I still live in hope we can change things. Let's find out what my panel have to say about Switzerland's entry this year. Let's go straight to Phil and Michelle. Watergun, what is your take? And how do you think Switzerland will do?
Go on.
Oh, I can't say what I think.
I don't know. This isn't for me. I'm sorry. It's an interesting take on an anti-war song, because normally you get a bit of sort of anger about war, and this just seems more like he's whining that he doesn't want to be involved in it. I don't know. He doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. He's not. This isn't my cup of tea anyway.
If you're going to do an anti-establishment, an this is not my voice sort of song, it needs to be big, it needs to be meaty, it needs to be powerful.
I think these tractors and mentions of tractors.
Oh, shut your face. But it's just, I don't know, what is it with, is it just going to be another bloke in a leather jacket again? It's like, I don't know what Switzerland's playing at all in recent years, but they seem to have just sort of gone a bit downhill. But it's just, there's nothing really memorable about it apart from it's just a bit whiny, and I just want something a bit in your face, and this isn't what we want, stand with me, and give your point of view, and it just doesn't.
Sorry.
Apart from that, I think it's brilliant.
Thank you, Phil and Michelle. Nicholas, this is a song with a message. And, we saw last year a number of songs which were about messages. I think Estonia ended up kind of tweaking their song in that direction. What is your thought on this particular entry? And Switzerland have had it pretty rough the last few years. They don't seem to be on a positive trajectory at the moment. Can you see that their chances improve in Liverpool?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, no. With this song, I feel like on one hand, it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I think the melody of it is fine enough, and I think he has a great voice. It surprises you at first. When you hear the song, you don't kind of expect that voice from him, but I think it's definitely unique, that voice, and it stands out compared to some of the other performers this year. And it's definitely a style. It's a style that Switzerland kind of figured out that worked for a few years, like having a good enough looking male do something on stage, right? It doesn't seem to be working for them anymore, and I think this song is also one of those that's just gonna be a little bit lost and forgotten, because yes, it may not be as bad as everyone thinks, but I still think that it's just a little bit too forgettable. There's nothing about it that makes it stand out compared to some of the other more stronger of these male ballads we've seen. And someone like John's Tears, if we compare it to him, like his package was so strong and unique that was something that you'll remember. This you don't really remember. And also interesting that you brought up the thing with like having the message in the song, because I don't like how this message is being portrayed. First of all, I think like using current events as a way to try to get more votes, I think is never a good thing to do. I think that's always a little tasteless. But at the same time, I don't like the way that this message is being conveyed, because I don't like the whole, I don't want to be a soldier, I don't want to go to war, because obviously no one wants to go to war, and none of the people fighting for their country at the moment in Europe wants to do that, but they're doing it because they have to. And I think doing this in this sort of like sad boy style, oh, it's so tough, the world's so tough, it's so hard being me, it just falls too flat. And I don't like that that's the message that they're trying to convey with it. I think it could have been done a lot stronger and a lot more tasteful, and unfortunately they didn't go with that. And I think for that reason it's not going to get a lot of televotes, I can't imagine. So no final, if you ask me.
Thank you, Nicholas. Gustav, as a lover of ballads, there aren't that many memorable ballads in this year's Eurovision. It's kind of a weird one. It must be difficult for you. I mean, I did notice online you were positive around your own country, and given that's not a ballad, that's unusual for you. What is your view on this particular ballad?
Well, first of all, I don't know what's wrong with me this year, but I have been leaning towards non-ballady songs, and yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. But this one I do actually quite like it. It is in my top 10, but I think that says more about what I think about the other songs outside of my top 10 than the songs that are in my top 10. And I think it's good. I do have some problem with it, just like Niklas was touching on. And I think that's why I don't enjoy it more than I do. But I think it's the production of it is really, really well done, and I do enjoy his voice a lot.
Thank you, Gustav. I mean, I suppose from my perspective, I love when songs have a message in them, but I just wonder whether we're at a point where we want to escape from a lot of what's going on in the world to enjoy 3 or 4 hours of Eurovision on a Saturday night in May. There is an argument to be said, actually, it's quite nice to escape from the really tough environment that a lot of our friends across different countries are facing right now. But equally, it's important that we maintain, the visibility of what's going on. So, take whichever way you want to go with that. It's a difficult one to really try to, to kind of just. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You kind of got the point. Let's move on. Sean, Ramo wants you to play with his water gun. Fancy a go?
You're naughty. You're really naughty. Look, there's something about this song. He's got a lovely voice. Don't get me wrong. He really has a lovely voice, and the production on the track's great. And I like the bit towards the end. It's really dramatic and everything. But I just think the message of this song at this time and place is a little bit misplaced. And I'm not saying I don't think it should be in the competition, but I'm a little bit uneasy about it. To be honest, I've got to say, was some of the lyrics that, remember why we're here. We're not here because Sam Ryder came second last year. We're here because, unfortunately, Ukraine can't host this year. And there's a real reason behind that. And to have lyrics in the song where can't turn and run, no water guns, just body bags that we've become, and I don't want to play with real blood. Well, it's real life. And what you said a minute ago, Stuart, is right. We want to kind of escape this for a few hours. And it's about bringing Europe and the world together through the love of music. The thing is here, it's just a little bit too close to the bone, I think. And I think some of those lyrics will be a little bit too difficult for a lot of Ukrainian people and other people around the world to hear. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Thank you, Sean. And Tom, let's round this one off. What are your thoughts on this particular song, and also how are the chat room reacting to this?
I mean, the chat room seemed to be, I think, nonplussed. I think it'd be the best word to use. I do find it interesting that we get a song about war from Switzerland. Oben's quite happy that Switzerland can't pull a second Boys Do Cry result. Little John loves Ramo's voice, and the song is in his team. I mean, my take on this is I quite like it as a song. I think he's got a really good voice. And I think it is going to appeal to a number of people. And yes, it might have a tough message and things like that, but at the same time, I think it is going to potentially, the more Eastern you are, I mean, it's very easy for us in the West of Europe to say, is it what they want to hear and things like that. But I suspect that if you're in countries like Latvia and Serbia and Moldova, all of whom are in semi-final one. I think you might find this resonates with some people and they do pick up the phone for it. I reckon, taking all that into consideration, it probably is going to qualify. I reckon a good voice, decent song that's moving, that stands out, it's a bit different. Yeah, sorry, I reckon it's going to pick up some votes. Won't necessarily qualify up there, but I reckon it's going to get enough votes to scrape 9th or 10th place and make it through to the grand final.
Thank you very much, Tom. I'm very aware because I saw a message pop up that we didn't do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing for Sweden. So before we do that, let's do that for Switzerland. So panel, qualifier, non-qualifier. Thumbs up, thumbs down, go. Okay. So mostly not going to qualify from Switzerland, I think it's fair to say. And we better do it for Sweden. I think we all know what's going to be the answer there. Qualifier, non-qualifier for Sweden. 3, 2, 1, go. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Okay, let's go back to the wheel. So, yeah, we better remove Switzerland. Right, okay, these are the last 4. Let's find out who we're going to next.
Do 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 do.
Oh, it's Romania. Okay. So let's go to Romania next. Theodore with DGT. Off and on. Bucharest-born Theodore. Serving us sassy burlesque-esque rock for Eurovision 2023. Singer, composer and actor. Is there anything Theodore can do? Only joking. Former semi-finalist of The Voice Romania Junior Edition. He is a multi-award winning artist, ladies and gentlemen. This has everything. Well, everything except an actual tune. That's right, it's a total racket. No, only joking. Let's find out what the panel have to say about this particular entry. Let's go firstly to Gustav. Let's go to you first. Romania have not come within an arse's roar of winning Eurovision for quite some time. Is this going to appeal to the televote and the jury this year? What are your thoughts?
I don't even know what to say. I do like the burlesque-esque feelings of this, but that's all I like about it. I think I think this will struggle hard to go anywhere in the contest, and it's sad because I want Romania to do good, but obviously they don't want to do good.
Thank you, Gustav. Phil and Michelle, this one, Selecția Națională in Romania, which is, by the way, if you weren't aware, that's their national selection that they host every year. Usually it's a lot longer. This year it was just 12 songs. Usually it goes on for days and weeks and months. But this year, he won by a country mile. He won the televote and the online vote. Could this be a potential surprise in the televote at Eurovision this year?
Not unless all the televote people turn into straight men, no.
Oh, I like it. I think it's all right. I don't know what you mean.
You filthy, dirty, filthy bastard.
What?
You
I like the song.
I bet you've never listened to this song without looking at the video.
I like the song. I don't give the song. I like this song. It's all right. It's not. I mean, it's not one of my favourites, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fun enough.
Dirty bastard. This is how staging can affect a song. Because if it was me up there dressed like that, you'd be going, "Oh, I'm not watching that shit." It's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. To be fair, there's worse songs than this.
Yeah, there are. That's it. There are.
And it is a classic sort of burlesque sort of tune, the way the So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to qualify or not. It's unusual. It'll be interesting to see how this does come across with the camera work, because the camera work can't be like what the Romanians did. It's poor. It's really, really bad. You need somebody to come in and go, "I'm a director, look, we need to do this." And they go, "Oh, yeah, that'd be good." I think they can turn this into something quite spectacular. if you take the Romanian director away from it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's all right.
Filthy, that's what you are.
I kind of wonder whether they might go down the San Marino route. I wonder if we're going to have one of those horses, in Liverpool. And
Still like that as well. That was a good song.
yeah, well, it certainly was elevated. That's one for Donna in the chat room by Staging. I just wonder what they're going to do with this one. I'm quite sad that Tristan's not on the show tonight because I guarantee he loves this. And I know he's in the chat room. So Tristan, I was wrong. I take it back. It's near my bottom. I hope you mean your top 37 when you say that. I think I have it 28th or 29th. I do think that they need to get rid of the sexy dancers as it makes him seem a bit cheap instead of a fun nerd. Oh, fair enough. Nicholas, let's come to you next. Romania are on a really bad run at Eurovision. In fact, since finishing third in 2010, they've only made the top 10 once. So it's kind of really gone very, very south very quickly for Romania. And I thought they were on a bit of a run back in the late 2000s, and it just hasn't happened for them. And they desperately want to host Eurovision, and I desperately want to go because it's cheap there. So can you please give me any positive light on this particular song? Can we potentially see Romania at least getting to the final this year?
It's not going to go to the final, unfortunately not. But I can give you something positive, because I do remember I was on the show where we talked about this song initially when it won. And I'm really positive about this. I have loved it from the first listen. It was my favorite of the Romanian selection. The Romanian selection is always interesting because it seems like they're just trying out something every single year. New way of doing the voting, a new way of doing the show. It's their little experimental playground, and I do love them for that. It's not going to make them win Eurovision, but it is fun nonetheless. This is a really interesting song, and I think it very much sticks out. And I know that people feel like it does that for the wrong reason, but it doesn't for me. I love this urban, more raw style that he has, and the way that he performs it. I like the stage show. It's very goth, it's very dark, but I think it's interesting. It's something new, and it's something we haven't really seen before. I think the song is very cool. It's very slick. If you watch the performance that he did, they did like a little preview show or whatever, where he did it without all the staging elements and everything like that, and he does sound pretty good. I don't think this has a chance of qualifying, because this very much is in the same kind of like dark style as On a Sunday was back in 2019. I love that entry as well. And I guess I was a little surprised that one didn't qualify, because I thought that was really, really cool. But maybe I just like dark Romanian music. I don't know. It's the same vibe as that. So I think that's the main reason why I don't think it's going to qualify. Also, I don't see a lot of people really loving this, but I have this in my top 5. I think it's great.
Cool. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Sean, last year we saw 3 acts that went down the sexy route. We had Romania with Yamami Yamami. Let's not forget that. We had Chanel, which did rather well, if you remember. And especially the Spanish were gutted when it actually qualified, and they weren't gutted at the end of Eurovision. Let's remind the Spanish of that. That's always fun. There was also San Marino and the rocking horse, and the sequins, the diamond-studded sequins. Where does this sit for you? Because I kind of feel like this was quite edgy in the Romanian final, and if there's ever a song that's going to be even more edgy in Liverpool, this is the one, right?
Oh, Stuart, it's crap. It's crap though, isn't it? You can't polish the turd. Sorry. Oh well, yeah. Well, I know Michelle's trying with wearing a tiara, but but like Phil and Michelle said, yeah. What about the staging? I mean, what should we do for staging? I know. We'll get a chair. No, it's crap. It's crap. I'm sorry. I really can't stand it. It's my joint last place this year. I don't know what it's about, and I don't care. I find it annoying. I'm sorry. So I know we're probably overrunning, so skip it and move on to the next one.
Thanks, Sean. Tom, round this one out. And also, is there any love for Romania in the chat room?
Well, should we start off with our first few comments on this? Next, can we skip this? And oh dear, that is all.
Right.
I think that basically sums up the chat room, and those are their words, not mine. let's be honest, this song's a tough watch. I mean, if this qualifies through its semi-final, quite frankly, something's gone seriously wrong somewhere. I know every song's got a 2 in 3 chance, of actually qualifying, but people are right. It comes across as creepy. The singer comes across as slightly creepy. I don't think the song necessarily works on stage. I don't think the song actually works full stop. Yeah, sorry. It's a no from me.
I think I can see the trend is building here in one direction. Guys, qualifier, non-qualifier. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, it's a non-quali, isn't it? Tell us what you think in the chat room. Guys, over 200 of you still watching, so we must be doing something right. So please click the like button. Tell all your mates about ESC Fan TV. I know that's that's an ask, but you know we'd really appreciate it. Make sure you leave comments and do chat with Tom in the chat room. He likes chatters in there. Let's find out who we're going to next. So you want to Are we going to Denmark next? Oh, how fab. Let's go to Denmark.
It's
Denmark. Yeah, well, look, I like this. This is my favourite of the night, so I'm happy. So Riley with Breaking My Heart opens the second semi-final at Eurovision this year. I'm not as scared to love you, but I'm as scared to admit this one is one of my personal favourites. Released his debut single, did Riley, Let It Ring in 2021. A pop hit that's sampled an iPhone ringtone. Yeah, seriously. He's also very big in South Korea, apparently. Has over 11 million followers on TikTok. Born and raised in the Faroe Islands. So yeah, that TikTok reference is really crucial when you think of a Sam Ryder last year. People, don't let that one slip. Breaking My Heart is a cool, modern pop song. He's a lovely, sweet little thing, isn't he? Is Riley. Have we got a picture of him? I think we have somewhere. Where is Riley? Let's bring him up on screen. Have we not got a picture of him? Oh, we haven't got a picture of him. Can't be that nice, can he?
I blame the person who put the photos on the...
yeah, I know. Was that me? Was that my job for the evening? Yeah, there you go. I screwed up, didn't I? I thought I had a picture of Riley. Never mind. I'm sure you all know what he looks like. Now, I mean, I'm not down with the lingo, but am I to believe that Riley is what is known as a twink? I don't know. This is my genre. So let's ask the panel, because I'm sure they will probably know. In fact, let's go direct to Gustav, because I'm sure he can solve this one once and for all. Denmark. What a fabulous entry this year. What are your thoughts?
Yes. So I hate saying this. I absolutely hate saying this. Because Denmark is the neighbor country that we don't understand a word that they're saying. But I love this song. I think it's so catchy, and he is a very tiny little twink. He is for sure. I just think it's so catchy and fun, and it's definitely in my top 5, which I have never had Denmark in my top 5. This is, yeah. I hate it, but I love it.
I think it's actually one of my favourites. It could even possibly be my favourite this year. It's really up there. Nicholas, let's come to you next. It's your country. Denmark have a rich history in Eurovision of late. Maybe not of the last few years, but they've done pretty well over the last 10 or so years. What are your thoughts on this one? This, for me, feels like the perfect entry for Eurovision. It's very quirky. It's very different to what we've also got. It's quite contemporary, but ultimately it's a really cool pop song.
Yes. Fuck all the haters. I love this song. And I think it's so nice when your country is actually being represented by something that you really, truly 100% believe in. I have the song as my second place this year. I've been listening to it a lot. It's been played a lot on Danish radio. And it fits in. That's the funny thing. It fits in so well with on Danish radio, because this feels like something that could organically being played, Dansk Melodi Grand Prix or not, this could be played on the radio here, because it is modern, it's fresh, it's cool, it's gonna get the young vote. I think he performs it well. We've seen him in the pre-parties now, like actually, you know, sounding pretty good. And a lot of people are saying, okay, maybe he doesn't rely on autotune as much as we thought before. I am absolutely championing this song this year. I wanted to bring my Faroe Islands flag, and then I forgot to bring it into the room today, unfortunately. But I am definitely hyping up my own country this year. I have no doubts we're going to qualify, by the way. I think it's good that we're in semi-2. I think it's fantastic that Denmark gets to open the semifinal for the first time. We've never done that before. I think, in fact, we've never opened in a Eurovision contest ever. So I think that's really fun. And it is a perfect opening song that can get the crowd going, that can get people excited, and that gets that modern beginning to the semifinal, that gets people hanging in there, which I think absolutely is going to benefit it in the voting. This is fun. It's cool. It's catchy. It's quirky. I really like it. I must say I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to at first listen. But I'm really proud of our entry this year, and I really hope that we can do well in the final.
Thank you, Nicholas. And I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Phil and Michelle, 11 million followers on TikTok. If we think back to 2022, there's an argument that Sam Ryder did very, very well, not just because of his performance, because of his following. Is that a really good place for Denmark to start their Eurovision journey this season?
What's a TikTok?
It's that thing that the young people do. I don't know.
What, the youth?
The youth, yeah.
I don't know anything about the youth.
No.
The only thing I can get on TikTok are cats doing stupid things, or it's like food, or people hurting themselves.
Oh, right. Yeah. I can imagine why you get people hurting themselves and being entertained by people.
I think TikTok is, if you're not on TikTok, then you're not going to do very well in Eurovision. You need to be all over the TikTok.
In terms of the song, I like this song. It's a good song. It's fun. I know it sounds like his voice is digitally enhanced, but I'm not convinced it is.
Of course it is.
No, I think that robotic thing is actually the backing track, and he's singing over the top of it just quietly.
But it's him that's been digitally enhanced.
But it's the backing track though, and I think it'll be the backing track again when it's performed live.
I think if the backing track plays like that, it's not going to come anywhere, because everyone's going to go, he's digitally enhanced his voice and that's cheating, so they're not going to vote for him. Plus, I reckon it's 50-50 that he could possibly wink when he's singing. And if he does, I will absolutely just lose my mind. It will knock me over the edge.
But he hasn't got a man bun, so that's all right.
Yeah, he hasn't got, no, the hair's fine, yeah, there's no man bun. But I think he might wink. But I think it's catchy, it's for the youth. It sounds like it's for the youth.
The youth.
It sounds like
it's the youth.
Sounds like it's for the youth. Eurovision's for the youth. It's not for the likes of us. I don't think we're his demographic somehow.
No, but it's a good song. It is a good song.
He's gonna wink. I know it.
Are we going to call him the twink that can wink? I like that. That's got a certain ring to it.
I would lose my shit if he winks.
The twink with a wink from Denmark. Sean, I have a sneaky suspicion that this might be a top three. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Finland and Norway, but I think this can penetrate that top three. What are your thoughts?
What, I'm Riley penetrating, or
I'm throwing you a lot of lines tonight.
You're a dirty girl. You know what? I think it's going to do very well. It's going to qualify easily, and it's probably going to be left on side of the leaderboard. It's just outside my top 10. It's my 11th favourite this year. But, you know, it is such a nice, lovely song. It really, really is. Phil, what you just said, winky twinky and po. Phil, what you just said about the digitized voice, it is on the backing track. That was quite obvious when he performed it live. Yeah, I heard him at the Melfest pre-party, I think it was. And it is on the backing track. But I think that digitized voice really enhances the chorus. It's only on the chorus. It's not in the verses, and I think it's a really smart move. He's all over TikTok, like you say. He's like a rash all over TikTok. There's a few artists this year that are. Andrew Lambrou, he's from Cyprus. He's all over TikTok, singing all sorts of stuff. I just wish Mae Miller would be a little bit more. She's there, but not quite as much as some of the other artists. I think it's a great, strong song, a brilliant show opener, and I think it will do really, really well in Liverpool. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. And Tom, I've got a sneaky suspicion that the juries and the televote will like this, and I think it'll do pretty well at Eurovision. What are the chat rooms saying, and what are your final thoughts?
Chat room seem to like it. Bit of debate over the vocals and things like this. Vanya says Denmark's really good at these cutesy songs, isn't it? Dan reckons it's a really catchy song. Said that Riley's very Harry Styles-esque, and I can see what they're doing as well with that. And Tracy says, I like this, can't understand why it's not doing so well in all the polls. Staged well, it could be one of the surprises. I would, do you know what? I would treat this song at your peril badly, because, you know, you look at him and you think, oh, fresh-faced, young, he's 25. He's been around the block a few times in terms of his musical talent and things like that. He knows the business. He clearly knows the business and things like that. And he's clearly playing to an audience there. And I think for that reason, I wouldn't be surprised if this was in the top 3 come Saturday night in May. Because it's good, it's catchy, it's modern, it's fresh. And arguably, that's kind of what we all want, is a nice, happy, clappy tune this year. Sorry, Sweden. There we go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all disappointed with this as a potential winner. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too carried away. But if Riley was your twink that can wink, who's been around the block a few times, make sure you vote for him at Eurovision and tell us what you actually think. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? 2 more songs left to come. And by the way, I did find a photograph there, Tom. I did, okay, yeah, I forgot. Qualify. Well, I think we're all saying it's going to qualify. Thanks, Michelle. Qualify and non-qualify. 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, there you go. We should have done top 5, really, shouldn't we, at Eurovision? That was a guaranteed qualifier for me. Final 2 songs. Let's bring up the wheel of death. Where are we going next? Looks like we're going to the Netherlands. We are indeed. Okay, we've got a photograph of the Netherlands as well, if we can find. There we go. Mia and Dion from the Netherlands with the song Burning Daylight, which starts 14th in semi-final 1. Spotted by Duncan Lawrence and his partner. They have been essentially designed for Eurovision. They've been pulled together, stitched together for your Eurovision pleasure with the song Burning Daylight. It's a beautiful ballad, that must be said. I've got some really weird and wonderful facts here. Maya has lived in London and would like to marry Harry Styles. Nice segue from Denmark, because someone said he sounds like Harry Styles there. But I am starting to question her judgment slightly. Dion meditates in front of an infrared panel every morning whilst naked. Yes, this is really the shit I get fed to speak to pass on to you for your viewing pleasure. Yeah. Anyway,
and who writes those notes, Steve? Just saying.
Well, he's not here tonight, is he? He's not here tonight, so he can't really take the blame. But why the fuck do I have to really tell you that he's meditating naked in front of an infrared whatever? Well, who cares?
Are you saying Elliot sent you the notes?
No, he might have. Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. Should we move on? Anyway, then. No, he hasn't really. I made it up. Netherlands. They're going back to a genre which actually has been quite successful for them. And it's a beautiful ballad. And I think because it's a beautiful ballad, we have to start with the beautiful Gustav. Should we go there first? Let's do it. Gustav, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I love this. I think it's brilliant. And it's not because it's a ballad. It's not because it's beautiful. But to me, it's both of those. It's actually the lyrics that I love. And I have been reading them basically like a poem many times. And I think they are really beautiful, and the imagery of the lyrics are amazing.
Thank you, Gustav. Nicholas, this has been kind of manufactured for Eurovision. Let's not, let's make no two bones about it. Spotted by Duncan Lawrence, 2 phenomenal voices. But is this the kind of song? I mean, it feels like we've heard this many, many times before, even though it is a really great entry. Is this the kind of song that could do well at Eurovision, do you think?
I think it could. Because I think it has that kind of like quality that we have seen the Netherlands do really well with. Not necessarily that they're going to win again, but I think that they have been able to get to the final and do all right with this kind of song. And I think this is another one of them. I think the pair here, they work really well together. I knew of Dion already before going into this, because that Duncan Lawrence has been promoting him. And I do listen a lot to Duncan Lawrence and his music. I would say Duncan Lawrence is probably one of the Eurovision winners, if not the Eurovision winner, whose like music I've listened the most to after their Eurovision. I really do love his stuff. And this song has Duncan Lawrence written all over it. I love the lyrics of it. I agree with Gustav. It's very poetic, and I think had I been in my like truly sad boy era, which I was a year or two ago, I would have absolutely eaten this up, and it probably would have been my first place. Right now, it sits around my fourth, I think, because I do really like it. I like the way that it builds up, and yes, it is very cliche, the whole, you know, like having the male first, then the female, then they meet together in the end, and it's like big, it's powerful. I know it's very cliche, but I love these kind of cliches, and I think this is one of those that's really works. I think it's underrated by the fandom. I think it's gonna do better than a lot of people expect it to.
Thank you, Nicholas. There's very few good points coming actually through the chat room about the lack of juries in the semi-finals, and I think that is a point that we need to discuss. Is this the kind of song that does need the juries to back it up? Sean, let me hand that one to you.
Yeah, I think it is, to be honest. I can't see it qualifying. It's semi-one right at the end, just before cha-cha-cha, which is, ooh, nasty. Cha-cha-cha-cha. I mean, I personally, I quite like it. It's a good, strong song, nice ballad. But, I mean, nothing says let's not win Eurovision this year like a male-female duet, does it, to be honest? Because they've not been that successful over the years. I think we've only had 2 male-female duets in the history of Eurovision that's ever won it. You know, it's okay. I really like it. But like you say, the lack of jury this year, I think this is really... this is a song that would probably do quite well with the juries, but there ain't none in the semis. And with so many strong songs in semi-final 1, I think it's really going to struggle. It's in the middle of the pile for me this year, this song. But yeah, I think it might struggle on the night.
I really want the Netherlands to do well. They hosted in difficult circumstances a few years ago, and I think they did a really good job of it. Their entry in 2021 did really badly, and I thought it was really unfair. But overall, they've put a huge amount of effort into staging Eurovision entries over the last few years. Phil and Michelle, this is, I think, a really, really strong song. I don't know how they're going to perform live. I want to hold fire watching all these Eurovision pre-parties until Eurovision comes around, although I am intended to be in London. Come and say hi if you're going to be at the London Eurovision party. What are your thoughts on this particular entry? Do you think this can work?
I don't know. The thing is, it sounds like a song that's written for Eurovision. And the problem with songs that are written for Eurovision... they sound like they're written specifically for Eurovision. It just sort of fades into the background with songs that, you know, compared to songs that don't sound like your typical Eurovision song. And I think that's going to be a risk for this. It sounds like the sort of thing that, yeah, you've heard at Eurovision before, and I think that's a problem.
What's it following in the semi? Does anyone know which one's it coming out?
I can't remember. It's before
Crown. Oh right. Well, do you know what? I like this. The only problem I have with it is that when she kicks off, she goes, "I don't believe in God anymore," and a lot of people in Europe might be slightly religious and go, "Oh well, I don't. Oh well, I'm not having any of that." You know, sort of blasphemies a month. It's awful. But the thing that worries me is, do you remember a few years ago when they had that country and western duo, and they just stood and they looked at each other, and it was creepy as shit. They can't be doing that. You can't have them facing each other, singing this to each other, because it's all bloody awful. It doesn't connect with the viewer, and it's creepy. I think if they do their own little sort of thing like they do in the video, and then possibly meet up at the end, then we're good. It's all on the stage in this one. If they do a lovely, not sort of interpretive sort of thing.
You love interpretive dance, don't you? Let's be honest.
No interpretive dance. But if they're all sort of moved in a different corner and work their way to each other for the end without looking in each other's eyes, I'm all over this. But if they're stood there just staring at each other, because I love you, Phil. Oh God, look in my eyes, Phil. I'll lose my shit. I really will. It's worse than a wink when they just stand and stare at each other lovingly. Gets on my tits. But I think this might qualify. Depending on staging, obs.
Well, we're going to find out soon. Tom,
TikTok.
the Netherlands tend to qualify. They have recently. They did again last year. And I think last year was, a lot of people felt was maybe a bit borderline. It's going to be interesting when we remove the juries to see what happens, because you'd imagine songs that are in the back end of semi-final one, this is one of them, but also maybe have a more of an up-tempo beat and sound to the entries might favour the televote. What are your thoughts? Do you think this feels like a qualifier to you?
First of all, I think we kind of need to lose the idea that upbeat people pick up the phone for and downbeat people don't, because I think there is a tendency that we're slipping into that, and we're saying, oh, the juries would vote for the ballad, people wouldn't pick up the phones and vote for a ballad. If it's a good enough ballad, people are going to pick up the phone and vote for it. Okay? Otherwise, we wouldn't have had some of the shites that won during the 2000s. Okay? Now, the second thing is this a good enough ballad? And to be honest, I'm not convinced. I get Verona vibes from this, in that it's kind of been put together for Eurovision. I don't necessarily see too much connection between the singers, certainly not in the video, things like that. And I think to myself, this potentially isn't going to be good enough to qualify. However, I am also going to qualify my statement with this, is that I never rated the Common Limits Calm After the Storm, Netherlands 2014, until literally the first 5 seconds of their staging in that semi-final, which was absolutely bloody brilliant. And literally the moment I saw the staging on that, it was like, wow, that is going to actually qualify, that's going to win the semi-final, and it did. So we'll see what the staging is, but quite frankly, I'm not convinced. I think this could be a shock non-qualifier for the Netherlands this year, which would be a shame. But it will be what it will be.
We will find out. Right, panel, qualifier, non-qualifier. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. I think we're going to give that as, I don't know, it's quite even, isn't it? Well, we're undecided. Let's see what the chat room have to say throughout the remainder of this show. Guys, keep your comments coming in. One final song to go. If you haven't already, please like tonight's show and tell us what you think. We'll go back to the wheel, but I think we know. If I can find my cursor, there we go. I think we'll go back to the wheel. Oh, look, it's Armenia. Right, that'll do. We don't need to turn the wheel, do we? Armenia. No, I'm not going to turn it. I can't be bothered. Right.
That's why you can't be bothered.
I know, I've got slightly distracted. Distracted.
As professional as ever.
Elliot made it spin round.
Yeah, Elliot made it spin to the final one.
Did he? Well, he's still spinning. He's spinning in Manchester or wherever the hell he is. Brunette with the song Future Lover for Armenia. Armenia kind of didn't do so well last year, although they got to the final, but their song probably became the most iconic song of Eurovision last year. Weird. Brunette with Future Lover starts second in semi-final 2. She's a singer-songwriter, formerly of a girl group from Armenia, which translates as Those Girls. I'm not even going to begin to try to translate, or even, well, I'm not even going to try on the Armenian there. Known in Armenia for their chart hit Menk. There you go. You can go and Spotify that to your heart's content. Brunette has also performed in many other bands. She's pretty well known in Armenia. Armenia have never come close to winning Eurovision, have they? Their best results were finishing 4th in both 2008 and 2014. This is a really dramatic ballad with rap elements built in. I can't wait to hear what Gustav has to say about this. Looking and sounding a bit like a cross between Ariana Grande and Alicia Dixon. I do really love this. I have to say, it is a really, really good entry. I decided to be good, do good, look good, says Brunette. Let's find out. Gustav, this one's going to test you, isn't it? What do you think of this?
I don't like it.
Wow.
Or I do like parts of it, but then that rap comes and I'm like, nope, bye, and thank you next, and all of those things I say. And that's all I have to say today as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Is that the first of the season? I think so.
I think so. Yeah. Usually we get a little bit more. But this was no, it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah. So look, I think this is actually. There's something about this song that wants me to play it and play it and play it. I don't know why. I don't particularly like it, but I find it quite mesmerising. Nicholas, this could be really good on stage, right?
It could. And I think you're absolutely right. There is something about this. And I think for me, this is a very unique song. This is something I can't really put a finger on, like what this kind of song is. I can't really compare it to anything else that I've heard before, because it is just it's very different. But I think it is cool. She is keeping to a style that she has. I like that people have discovered the fact that a lot of the lyrics are like quotes from like Tumblr quotes and Pinterest quotes. And as a Tumblr user, I guess no one would have expected that, but I am a very, very active Tumblr user. I do think this is very funny. It's very different compared to what you would think as a Eurovision entry. They're definitely going for that, like, you know, maybe trying to get that young vote again, because that worked with Snap. But instead of just doing Snap 2.0, which I think a lot of us were scared that they were going to, I don't know necessarily scared, but we're thinking that they were going to do, they went for something that can maybe still get that young vote, because it has that, the poetic lyrics in it that works in that way. But at the same time, being super unique. It's not one of my favorites. I have no idea how it's gonna do, especially because it has that little rap part, and I think that does put people off. I like it. I love a surprise rap bit. No matter what song it is, if there's a surprise rap bit in it, I'm like, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this can do, because it can either be a shock qualifier and do super well, or it can come last place in the semifinal. I feel like it has the potential to do both, and it's just a matter of time to see what will happen with this song.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one for the televote, I have to say, and which is good, because there is only televote in the semi-final. And the only thing about this song is that they've placed it second, which is never a good place to be for a ballad, and that tends to be where the ballads are put, especially the ones they don't think are going to do particularly well. Sean, this is definitely quirky, diverse, which I love. What are your thoughts on this? Could you see this as a potential qualifier? I mean, there's not many songs are going to go out, so there'd be one of very few. What are your thoughts?
I really like it. I think it's a strong, powerful song. I love the whole orchestral arrangement of it. I think songs like this make me want to have the live orchestra back, and just think that what that would give to enhance this song. I love the lyrics, especially right at the beginning. They're so cute. I just want to make art, read books, and find someone who likes me enough to kiss my face or something. It's just really cute. I like it. I think it's one of the strongest Armenian entries in a long time, definitely. And I think the spoken word section, it's more of a spoken word section, I think, than rap, is actually really quite powerful. The only thing about this song, the downfall, is that it feels too short for me. It seems to be over really quickly. It's only a touch over 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. And it just ends too abruptly. I'm thinking, they could have shoved another chorus in there or something, or unless they've got plans to buff it out in the performance or something, I don't know. But I really like this song. It's a strong song for Armenia. I'm looking forward to seeing how they bring it together on the stage.
You know what? When I hear songs that are 2 minutes 30 or 2 minutes 45, I immediately think they've got a plan for the stage in Liverpool. It's deliberate. It's a deliberate act to give us an act and a performance in Liverpool. But we'll have to see. I've got a sneaky suspicion this might surprise, a bit like Armenia did last year. And actually, I would love Armenia to win a Eurovision one day. I doubt it'll be this year, but it'll be great to see Armenia win Eurovision, because Yerevan did an incredible job of hosting Junior Eurovision this past year. And it's bloody cheap there. Phil and Michelle, would you like a cheap Eurovision? And what do you make of Armenia's entry?
I would love a cheap Eurovision in Armenia, and I think all the songs should be 2 minutes 30, so that we're out of the stadium by at least 1:30 in the morning. That'd be fantastic. And that's what Nicholas says. It's like, I get the Pinterest sort of thing, but what's Tumblr? Is it like a sex thing? I don't know what that is.
not down with the young people and their
I
social
don't
media
know.
thingy.
I've only just learned about the TikTok. I don't know. I've never heard of the
It
Tumblr.
can be a sex thing if you want it, but they banned porn a few years ago, but porn is back on Tumblr, so take that as you will.
And you would know how
I'm
exactly.
pretty sure that's probably going to cost me extra. I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, this isn't really my sort of genre of songs. But I will say that she does not come across as a bit needy to me. Crikey. You know, I don't know about a future lover, but good heavens, I don't think you...
No wonder she hasn't got one now.
No,
The way
no.
she's going on.
No, crikey.
And this is Phil saying needy. It's married to me. I don't mind it. I think it builds quite nicely. I think it builds quite nicely to the end. And I think there is going to be, I've got a surprise for that, a surprise 30 seconds. We've all had a surprise 30 seconds.
Hey.
But I think hers might be slightly different. Or maybe Tumblr-y, I don't know.
Famous last word, Michelle. You know we're going to get 30 seconds of interpretive dance now, don't you?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. I can't deal with man buns, interpretive dance, staring at each other intently, or winking. I'll email someone.
Yeah, I would. Have a word with the producers at Eurovision. Tom, let's round this out. We've had 6 good entries tonight, and it's been a lot of fun. Armenia has the potential to be a lot of fun on stage as well. I fear that 30 seconds is going to be used wisely by Armenia. I mean, last year's staging was definitely well thought out. Some loved it, some perhaps didn't, but it certainly enabled them to elevate and qualify. What are your thoughts on Armenia's entry this year?
Do you know what? I reckon it's got a decent chance. The voice reminds me of Roxanne
Yes.
from last year. Very much has got a very Roxanne vibe to it, with a little bit of edge, and I think that's going to stand it in good stead. I think this is probably going to qualify. I reckon it's going to qualify. I can see it being mid-table placed in the final. I reckon the staging will be a plus point and things like that. I think the one thing that's probably going to sit not so comfortably with everyone is the song of two halves. Because if you look throughout the history of Eurovision, a song that kind of metamorphosizes itself into something else partway through never does tend to set the scoreboard alight, as it were. But in this case, I reckon it's probably just going to do enough to qualify.
Cha cha cha.
Cha cha cha.
Cha cha
So-
cha cha.
That brings us to the end of tonight's show. And I'd just like to say a huge thank you to those in the chat room. We've had over 200 consistently tonight, so we really appreciate. Oh crap! Stop it! I can't remember all these things. I need a producer. He's off spinning somewhere up north. I don't know.
But you've got me as your co-host, and even with me doing this, reminding you still just kind of.
Do you really
look at the
think I
screen
pay
going,
attention? Do you really think I pay attention? No, I
You thought you were
don't.
doing like
No, I
a 3, 2, 1 thing. It was like.
There's one for you.
Can we have Elliot back next week, please?
You will have Elliot
I
back.
miss
Yes, that
Elliot.
is a promise. That is an absolute promise. No, seriously. Let's do our thumbs up, thumbs down before I get lynched. 3, 2, 1, go.
We should have not done
Okay.
it then, just to wind him up. We should have just done.
Sure.
There you go. I'm going to say that's a qualifier. I think that's a surprise qualifier. Yes, you can tell I'm rusty, can't you? Thank you very much for those in the chat room. It's been fantastic tonight. Lots of fun. And thank you to the panel, the great panel that we have here. We're going to be back next week. It is Easter weekend for those of us. And we intend to do a show. But we will have to confirm on our socials. Stay posted on our social media for next dates and time. And then the following week, we're going to give you a week off. Because most of us will be doing the tour around Europe, going to Amsterdam, to London and other places to experience Eurovision. So if you see us out and about, make sure you come and say hello. Give us a cheeky wink.
No. Nobody come towards me and look at me or anything like that. I'm not interested unless you're holding a pint for me.
Only if you've had a tetanus jab. please.
If you
It
see,
needs to be
if you,
a pint for me.
if you see Stu, don't forget to ding a dong his bell.
Yeah, make sure you ding a dong my bell. I do love it when you reach into your soul and ding a dong my bell.
Our souls.
Our soul,
Okay.
my soul, your soul, our soul. With that, I'd like to say a huge thank you very much to my panel. Huge thanks to the wonderful Gustav.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful as always.
Thank you very much, Gustav. We'll see how Sweden get on. Fingers crossed for Loreen. And also, we might even be able to get a ticket next year if it's Sweden. You never know. Nicholas, huge thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for letting me take part once again, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do think the show will benefit from Elliot being back and pushing the buttons once more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
I push the buttons when he's normally doing it anyway.
It doesn't matter. No one needs to know that.
Huge thank you to Sean.
Thanks, everyone. If Sweden does win, I've already got a hotel booked in Gothenburg for next year, but never mind.
That'd be Stockholm, wouldn't it?
No, they've already had it.
Oh, they go back to Stockholm. It's got to.
Thanks for having me. See you next time.
Big thank you to Phil and Michelle.
I can't believe they let Sean book hotels this far in advance. And Nicholas, how rude! This is the most professional that this show ever gets. If you think you can press the buttons any better, then email somebody.
You cannot say professional and ESC Fan TV in the same sentence.
No, that's very true. That's
Turn
very true.
up. You turn up.
Nice knowing you,
Yeah,
Nicholas.
what do you want?
Anyway, thank you very much to my co-host Tom.
Thanks to you as well, Steve, or should I say Ginger Jesus. It's been a great fun, hasn't it? It's been an absolute laugh. Yeah, we should do it again sometime.
We should. And if you're heading to Amsterdam, especially James Ashton, make sure you look up Phil and Michelle, Tom and Sean, whoever else is going there. Until next
Do
time.
not approach me.
Unless you've got a pint.
Very
Never
true.
turn down a free drink.
Until next time, guys, have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great week, and we will see you some point next weekend. Bye-bye.